morning and welcome to Still Up with 6, where the conversation continues. Joining me from home is Chris Rogers. Hey there, Chris.
Hey there, good morning to you, Heidi. Yeah, waiting for a couple more people to jump on here before we dive into it and start answering your questions. I think we've been getting plenty of questions every single day, and I get a little bit more after the Still Up with 6 show as well. So I think it's a very useful tool. And some big news on the stimulus check front. This specifically for the people who are receiving mailed checks, if you want to give people an update there.
Yeah, so those checks have started going out as of yesterday, and they will continue to go out all week long. Of course, we've been telling you guys that they were expected to be mailed out as of early May, but that actually has changed. So if you are waiting for a mail check, you might be getting one soon. But again, it could take, they're saying the whole process to complete the distribution could take up to 5 months. So that is something to keep in mind as well. So there's an update. And like we said, we're going to be having these updates on a daily basis in regards to your checks, in regards to case numbers, in regards to treatments, in regards to all testing, all of that, because this thing is ever changing. So for people waiting on a paper check, you can expect one soon. But if not, just remain patient. It is on the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a couple questions overnight that I can jump through real quick. Things that I've answered before. Here we go. This question came to me from Jennifer, who had asked, inmates that were locked up since 2015, how can they receive a 2020 stimulus check? They will not receive a 2020 stimulus check if they were locked up. Of course, this stimulus check is meant for people who are out of work and need money to make ends meet. People in prison since 2015 have not been working, so they would not receive that check, nor do they need to make ends meet in prison. Of course, that's paid for by the state. And then another question, if child support is owed, will they still receive the stimulus? Well, the answer to that question is it depends on how much child support they owe. If the amount of child support is greater than the amount of the stimulus check or equal to, they will not receive it. Now, if they only owe about $500 in back child support, they're still eligible for the rest of that stimulus check. And as far as the State Attorney General's office is aware, or as I'm aware from the State Attorney General's office, they're doing their best to redirect part of those stimulus checks to the people who are owed back child support.
All good questions coming in. We do want to report some good news, I would say, is that for the third day in a row, McLennan County has reported no new cases. The mayor is saying we're starting to see these numbers go down. That means that the stay-at-home orders are working, which means stay at home until that order is lifted. So that is important to note when it comes to cases. Of course, for full breakdown of your area, you can head to our website, kcentv.com. It's pinned to the top. I can tell you that Bell County has 123 cases right now. McLennan stands at 76, and Brazos County reported no new cases yesterday, so they also did not report any new cases. So that's the latest when it comes to case numbers in Central Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. We do want to remind viewers this does not mean we are out of the woods yet. It's certainly very encouraging to see that the curve is beginning to flatten a little bit, but that does not mean we can stop what we're doing. We have to continue to do what we're doing for the time being until we get that curve all the way down. But certainly some encouraging news, and we do want to focus on that because I know it's easy to get caught up in reporting new cases, new deaths every single day, but to report no new cases, no new deaths is certainly very encouraging, but we still have to continue doing what we're doing. Let's see, Marlene is saying she can't get mine. I can't even get past the first page. Interesting, Marlene. I would go, there's plenty of resources on our website that can kind of walk you through some things. Now, in terms of getting yours, it's possible, based on your situation, maybe you could be receiving a mailed check, and those are the first wave of those are going to start to go out today. So just because you can't navigate the IRS page right now, that does not necessarily mean you will not be receiving a check, Marlene. So I don't want you to get discouraged and think that because you're having difficulty with the IRS tracker, that doesn't mean you will not be receiving a check necessarily.
Any other questions? We did drop the tracking link for you where you can track your stimulus check payment. It's in the comments section, so if you need to use that, that's there as well.
Yeah, and I know that there's been some difficulty and some confusion navigating that website and that tracker. Make sure that you are putting in all the correct information. Some of the If you entered your banking information, there's a possible explanation that some of the numbers were off. There's been some glitches, but there's also some user errors involved as well. So I want people to remember just to double check the information, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's your mistake. It could be on the IRS pages onus there. So just continue to double check that information.
Robert says mine says approved.
Chris, I'm hearing that there's another stimulus package in the work. I'm just going to jump into this question, Heidi, from Kimberly, who's saying that she's hearing there's another stimulus package in the works that is stating they want to give Americans $2,000 every month for 6 months. Okay, Kimberly, you heard, yeah, okay, I want to clarify that a little bit because I've been getting a couple questions about that. I can tell you this, Kimberly, that is a proposal from House Democrats that more stimulus money will be on the way. Now, I do want to remind people at home, we have a Senate that is controlled by the Republicans. More than likely, that will be shot down in the Senate. So that is just a proposal from Democrats. There's no indication that that will move through or even make it to the president's desk. So I would not hold out hope for the $2,000 a month. I know that a lot of people saw that headline or saw that story and maybe thought that that was something that was already happening or would be happening in the future. That was just a proposal, but more than likely, I would say 99% will be shot down in the Senate. So I wouldn't plan on that. For right now, I think the focus is to try to get more money perhaps to small businesses, and that would be the focus right now in terms of more stimulus money.
And it's good you mentioned that because today the Senate could possibly be voting on another small business rescue bill. So we're going to have to wait and see if that's going to go through. Robert says mine says approved and will be direct deposited, but still nada. Robert, you just have to be patient. It's coming in waves. The direct deposits, I know some people have gotten them, some people haven't. So you just have to be patient. They are trying to distribute that money as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. And good morning to you, Sam, and thanks for your kind words there. Certainly some, let's see, I'm getting a paper check and it says payment status not available. Well, if you know you're getting a paper check, Cindy, I would just kind of hold tight. I know it's you want to track where that paper check is, but they are going to start to go out. You'll receive it for sure by the end of May. I know that's a little frustrating for people who are receiving checks in the mail, but you got to think about the logistics of mailing out all those checks. But if it says not available and you're still expecting a paper check, be patient. That money is on the way.
Stephanie, you can get a hold of the IRS from their website, irs.gov, and you can also track your payment there as well. We did drop the link. It's there at the bottom of the comments section for you.
Honey Nicole is asking, were the checks sent to Jackson Hewitt if you filed with them? Here's what I can tell you. They won't be sent to the tax company that you filed through, but they would be sent to the payment information that you gave. Now, if you receive money back and your direct deposit information is set up, that information is on file, no matter if you used an accounting agency or not.
And then, Chris, you've gotten a lot of questions about SSI. Nikki's asking, what about in the beginning? They told SSI to file or to fill out the non-filler, now they're saying not to do what people do who filed it.
Let's see. I'm not seeing that question here, Heidi. Who's this coming from?
This is coming from Nikki.
What about the beginning? They told us to start following now. Okay, so yeah, so in the beginning of this, it was the directive of the IRS and the government that if you were on SSI, you would need to fill out a simple tax return, which would essentially give you, just give the government your basic information. But now they've kind of backtracked on that and say that you don't have to do anything if you're on SSI. So just be patient, and however you normally receive your SSI benefits, whether that's through the mail or through direct deposits, is how you will be receiving this stimulus check.
And Vero, is the stay-at-home order in effect for the rest of the month? Sorry, I haven't been watching the news lately. No worries. We know a lot of people's schedules are kind of different right now. A lot of people working from home and having to homeschool their kids. So we can tell you that, yes, it is. It's going to be in order until the end of the month.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that there's definitely some encouraging news about the curve, about flattening the curve, but we got to keep it up, got to keep staying at home. Mine said that I had to adjust my address and said Lane had to adjust to Lane. Okay, So Anita is kind of giving some insight here. Maybe you have to use abbreviations instead of typing out, whether that's RD, LN, ST. That's an interesting insight. That's Anita's experience, at least.
Let's see. So Ann is saying, when will the IRS be open to process returns that have been submitted since COVID? Our returns are in the process phase and are just sitting. No return and no stimulus. Now, just because you're waiting for your tax return, and it doesn't mean you're not going to be getting a stimulus check, because they have your record, if you have your records on file from previous years that you filed, that direct deposit information will stay, and that's what they'll use to give you your stimulus check. But Chris, do you have any timeline on returns?
No, you're just going to have to sit tight and patient. Obviously, the IRS system right now is very overwhelmed. And just because maybe perhaps your 2019 information hasn't been processed, in the alternative case scenario, they would use your 2018 tax returns to give you that stimulus check. If not much information has changed, then you don't have a whole lot to worry about there. So that was what would happen if your returns hasn't processed quite yet.
And also weighing in, I think, commenting on her previous post saying no 2018 return filed. So they'll use your address and you'll be one of the people that get one via mail, paper check. So that's something to look out for.
Jennifer says, if you are a retired military and qualify for stimulus, will it be deposited like your military benefits? Yes, and that's a good question, Jennifer. We want to remind anyone who receives benefits, whether that be SSI, railroad benefits, Social Security, or military benefits. However you normally and typically get those benefits, whether that be through the mail or whether that be a direct deposit into a bank account, that is the way that stimulus check will be deposited.
Cindy's asking when they're going to do the next round of direct deposits. My info updated, but doesn't give a date. Cindy, they said any day from now, from last week up until the next 2 weeks, you can check your direct deposit and check your bank information to see if it's there. If not, you're just going to have to be patient. They're giving a timeline of about 5 months now for all those payments to be distributed, whether it's paper check or direct deposit. But I would say keep checking your bank account every single day, because they said for the next 2 weeks they're going to be putting those in there.
Yeah, absolutely. The good news is for you, Cindy, if your info is updated and updated successfully, that is a good sign for you. So you've done all you need to do. Now you just got to kind of sit back and be patient. But if your info is updated, you will receive that stimulus check. You just got to be patient. Of course, there is just millions and millions and millions of stimulus checks being distributed right now. So it's just kind of a matter of patience and trusting that this system will eventually play out and get to everyone.
Yeah. But we do want to wrap up this morning, and thank you guys so much for dropping in your comments. We hope we got some of your questions answered. If you have a specific case or question, be sure to go to IRS's website. They've got a lot of Q&As there. Chris is always working to do verifies as well. So just those are the options right now. But remember, remain patient. And we do want to thank everyone who joined us this morning. And Chris, thank you for verifying a lot of questions today.
Yeah, absolutely. And stay safe, stay positive, stay healthy, everyone. We will see you tomorrow.